If you come to Shanghai and only hit the skyscrapers of the Bund and the crowds of Guyi Garden, you are missing a true hidden gem with a soul. Today, I'm taking you to the northwest district of the city, tucked away in Nanxiang ancient town. This is Guyi Garden, the garden of graceful bamboo. Its name was drawn from one of the most celebrated passages in the Book of Songs, China's oldest anthology of poetry. Compiled over 2,500 years ago, Guyi Garden was originally built more than 500 years ago. In traditional Chinese culture, a garden was never just a scenery. It was a spiritual sanctuary built by Chinese scholars. When the outside world became too noisy and chaotic, they retreated into their gardens, reading books, writing poetry, listening to music, and tending flowers. They hid their entire philosophy of life, nature, and the world within the rockeries, ponds, and pavilions. Now we are here at this magnificent building, the Hall of Rustic Retreat. The name was a declaration of intent. The Chinese name is Yiye Hall. Chinese character Yi means ease, freedom, and elegant withdrawal from the world. Chinese character Ye means the open countryside, the wild, the unadorned. Together, they evoke the classical idea of the scholar who has stepped back from official life and public ambition to live simply, surrounded by nature and beautiful things. The hall was also known by a more descriptive nickname, the Four-Sided Hall, because its open design allowed the views of the garden between inside and outside almost invisible. This building was erected during the Ming Dynasty. It served as the garden's principal reception hall, where the owner would welcome guests, host gatherings, and conduct the refined social life, central to culture of the educated elite. The get-togethers were held during the Mid-Autumn Festival, when the flowers were in bloom and the weather was at its best. Moon appreciation on the Mid-Autumn Festival is one of the most cherished Chinese traditions. On the night of the festival, when the moon is believed to be at its fullest and brightest, families and friends gather outdoors to admire its beauty. They share mooncakes, sip tea, and enjoy one another's company beneath the moonlit sky. Its perfect circle symbolizes reunion, harmony, and completeness. Even when loved ones are separated by great distance, they can look up at the same moon and feel connected across time and space. For more than 1,000 years, poets, artists, and scholars have found inspiration in the Mid-Autumn moon to admire. It is not only to appreciate nature, but also to reflect on family, friendship, and enduring bonds that unite people. Now, imagine the scene in full. It is the night of the Mid-Autumn Festival. This hall has been prepared for a gathering. The rosewood tables set with tea, liquor, and mooncakes, the scholars' brushes and inkstones laid out for those who wish to write. The windows open to the garden. The guests arrive one by one along the winding paths. They are scholars, poets, merchants, with literary ambitions. People who have come together in a beautiful place like this with people they trust. The conversation is unhurried. The moon rises above the garden wall. The osmanthus fragrance intensifies as the evening deepens. Someone reads the couplet aloud, and everyone understands, not just with their minds, but with their whole bodies, exactly what it means. This is the scene captured in one of the most beautiful couplets in all of Guyi Garden. The inscription hung on columns at the entrance to this Hall of Rustic Retreat. The right panel reads, "Secluded paths, elegant peaks, and old trees breeze. This place transcends the mortal world." Left panel reads, "Cold dew, drifting clouds, sweet osmanthus bloom. Have we actually come to the Moon Palace?" The Moon Palace is a mythological lunar palace in Chinese legend, where the moon goddess Chang'e resides alongside a giant osmanthus tree on the moon. These couplets are a fine example of traditional Chinese garden culture, where couplets and plaques are regarded as a finishing touch that bring the whole composition to life. Much as a master painter adds the final stroke to the eyes of a dragon, awakening the entire work. The ancients often said, "A garden may have its boundaries, but its meaning is boundless." In this spirit, the physical structures of a garden, its pavilions, corridors, rockeries, and ponds, serve merely as a vessel. It is the written word, carved into wood and stone, that truly breathes cultural meaning and poetic spirit into the space. A well-chosen couplet does far more than decorate a pillar or doorway. It frames the visitor's gaze, guides the imagination, and layers the immediate sensory experience. Right now, we are standing in front of the pavilion of the Soaring kite bird and the leaping fish, one of the most philosophically rich spots in the entire garden. A small, elegant waterside pavilion. Do you see that circular opening in the white wall? That's a moon gate. And when you stand in front of it and look through, the round frame perfectly captures the garden beyond, like a painting hanging on the wall. This technique, using an architectural frame to compose a view, is one of the most beloved tricks in the classical Chinese garden designer's toolkit. So why is this pavilion called the Soaring kite bird and the leaping fish? The name comes from one of the oldest lines in all of Chinese literature. It's drawn from the Book of Songs, China's earliest anthology of poetry. The original verse reads, "The kite bird soars high into the sky, the fish leaps in the deep pool." That sounds like a simple nature description, but in the Chinese philosophical tradition, these words carry a much deeper meaning. To ancient thinkers, this image represented the highest possible state of the natural world, everything in its rightful place, everything flourishing according to its own nature. The bird belongs to the sky, the fish belongs to the water. Neither is straining against its circumstances, neither is trying to be something it is not. Each is simply, fully, joyfully itself. The scholars who named this pavilion were making a quiet invitation to every visitor. Come here, sit down, and just for a moment, let go of your worries and your ambitions. Look up at the sky, look down at the water, and remember what it feels like to simply be. The way kite bird soars and the fish leaps, free, unhurried, and completed. Here before us lies one of the most poetic corners of the entire garden, Pond of Playful Cheese. On the northern bank of the pond, there is a celebrated landmark that has weathered 500 years of wind and rain, the unmoored boat. This elegantly shaped, boat-like structure, surrounded by water on three sides, is the unmoored boat, also known as a stone boat. With its prow facing the open expanse of the pool, it appears forever poised to sail away on the breeze, yet remains anchored in this tranquil stretch of water. The name Unmoored Boat is drawn from a verse by one great Tang Dynasty poet. Once returned to hometown, I drift like a boat with no rope to tie. This name evokes a spirit of unfettered freedom and serene detachment from worldly affairs. In choosing this name, the garden's owner expressed a longing for a life of poetic dwellings and liberty. It originally served as a painting and calligraphy studio. The structure is ingeniously composed of three sections: a forward cabin, a central corridor, and a rear pavilion. Particularly noteworthy is a couplet inscribed on the boat's doorway by a Qing Dynasty scholar. 10 parts of spring water mirror the double eaves, 100 lotus petals carry 7 miles of fragrance. This couplet captures the shimmering reflections on the water and the drifting perfume of the lotus. Reading it, one feels melted in the gentle surroundings of this garden pool. Standing aboard the unmoored boat, one watches the poet scenery unfold in layers, listens to the whisper of bamboo leaves, and breathes in the drifting fragrance of flowers. In this moment, time itself seemed to pause. For 5 centuries, this unmoored stone boat has rested here peacefully, bearing witness to the poetic aspirations of countless scholars and artists. Looking southward across the pool, you will notice a delicate structure that seems to float upon the water's surface. This is a floating bamboo pavilion. First built during the Ming Dynasty, light, graceful, and inseparable from the water it floats upon. It stands in quiet dialogue with the unmoored boat across the water, one seemingly adrift, the other seemingly rooted, a perfect pairing of contrast. Rising gently from the bank is a low earthen hill known as Bamboo Branch Hill. Dense groves of bamboo clothe its slopes. The hill and the water work together in the classical garden manner. The mountain gives the water a sense of depth and stillness, while the water gives the mountain life and movement. This interplay of solid and fluid, of height and reflection, is the very essence of the garden's design philosophy. In summer, the scene here reaches its most splendid. Dense groves of bamboo surround the pool on all sides, their shadows swaying gently against the pavilions and the galleries, and a gentle breeze carries their fragrance through the air. The bamboo on the hillside sways and whispers, casting shifting shadows across the water's surface. It is a thing that has changed little in 500 years. Located very close to the unmoored boat, there is this life-size metal statue standing. It depicts a plainly dressed man holding a bamboo basket, inside which sit 10 beautifully crafted metal dumplings. According to legend, back in 1871, Mr. Huang was the owner of a snack shop in the nearby Nanxiang town center. In those days, Guyi Garden was always full of strolling visitors, and the competition among food vendors was fierce. Mr. Huang was a man with sharp business acumen. He noticed that the fillings of the traditional large pork bun lacked refinement. It was too big to eat in one bite, too clumsy to hold while walking. And so he set his mind to a rather bold reinvention. It can be summed up as more filling, thinner skin. He abandoned the convention leavened dough entirely, using instead fine, unleavened wheat flour, which he rolled into delicate, thin wrappers. For the filling, he hand-chopped premium pork leg meat, and here is the master stroke, blended it with a secret aspic. When the dumplings were steamed, the aspic melted into a rich, fragrant broth, pulling inside each paper-thin parcel. It raised the bar entirely. A dumpling whose skin would not burst, whose meat was firm and flavorful. This entirely new sensory experience conquered every palate it encountered. There is a must-try soup dumpling place just outside the garden's south gate. Let's go have some amazing soup dumplings. The golden rule for eating soup dumplings properly. 4 steps. Pick up the dumpling with care. Bring it to your spoon without rushing. Nibble a small hole in the skin to drain out the broth. This helps cool it. Then sip the broth before taking the rest in one bite. Personally, I would prefer to have the broth before adding any vinegar. Many people would add vinegar at first. Then I'm gonna add in some vinegar. That's unbelievable. If you don't want to eat in those 4 steps, that's fine. But whatever you do, do not put this whole thing in your mouth. You're gonna burn yourself. Remember, this is hot soup. You need to be very careful. Have you tried soup dumplings before? Tell us about your experience in the comments. Having passed through the tranquil bamboo groves and the winding covered walkways, welcome to one of the most poetically named courtyards in the entire garden, the Shuimu Mingse Courtyard. The name evokes the sparkling interplay of water, sunlight, and trees, a scene of serene natural beauty. The phrase originates from one of the most celebrated geographical texts of ancient China, the Commentary on the Waterways Classic, written by one of ancient China's greatest geographers over 1500 years ago. In it, he described a lakeside scene using these very words. These words describe a quality of brightness, clarity, and the refreshing cleanness, the feeling of a world washed clean. I invite you to close your eyes for a moment and picture the scene. Sunlight dancing on the surface of a crystal clear pool, trees on the bank casting their reflections deep into the water below, fish gliding among the water plants, so clearly visible that they seem to be swimming through mid-air. This is the atmosphere it seeks to evoke. Water pure and trees radiant, the world utterly unspoiled. The name does not describe the building, it describes the experience of standing within it, the sensation of being surrounded by clear water and bright living wood. Here, standing in front of us, is the Plum Blossom Hall. This hall was first built in the Qing dynasty. The finest season to visit is winter or early spring, when more than 60 plum trees surrounding the hall. Varieties include the pale pink, the jade green, come to bloom simultaneously. The Plum Blossom Hall carries another celebrated couplet by the renowned garden scholar Mr. Chen Chongzhou. In the clear stillness of the pavilion, one finds a world of quiet delight. It is in the cold that the plum blossom yields its fragrance most fully. This couplet speaks not only of plum blossoms, but also of a broader philosophy. Chinese people believe that a person's beauty and virtue are most fully revealed under conditions of hardship and restraint. Chinese people particularly love plum blossom and admire its spirit and symbolism. In Chinese culture, the plum blossom's ability to bloom in the harshest conditions, alone and unbowed, has become a powerful symbol of resilience, integrity, and the refusal to give up. That image, a few plum blossoms stand alone on bare branches, unadorned and unaccompanied, blooming defiantly in the cold, has resonated with Chinese people for centuries.
Now we have stepped inside the Plum Blossom Hall to look closely at its extraordinary wood-carved furniture and interior decoration. The ink-black pillars and the deep purple window frames give the hall its air of quiet, ancient dignity. The centerpiece of the hall is a set of furniture, a 9-dragon screen flanked by a dragon swan chair and dragon side tables, all carved in the Qing dynasty style. This furniture arrangement shows perfectly the way a cultivated person of that era would have organized their living space to express their taste and values. The decorative motifs are drawn from the imperial and auspicious vocabulary of classical Chinese art. Dragon surging through ocean waves, phoenix among clouds, the paired symbols of dragon and phoenix that represent the harmony of heaven and earth.
If you have an interest in calligraphy and the Chinese classical poetry, please do not miss the Plum Blossom Style Gallery, located just to the northwest of the hall. This covered corridor is lined with 27 stone styles, each engraved with poem in praise of the plum blossom, composed by celebrated scholars and poets from across the centuries. The calligraphy on each style is the work of a distinguished master, making the gallery as much a showcase of the art of Chinese writing as it is a tribute to the plum blossom itself. After touring this beautiful garden this whole day, now I think it is a perfect time to take a break. We are heading to the Pavilion of Brightness Teahouse. It is a classical Ming Dynasty style tea house tucked at the far end of a winding lakeside corridor. To reach the Pavilion of Brightness Tea House, you'll first have to follow the water. At the far end of the left bank of the corridor, we have arrived at the tea house. The building itself follows the architectural language of the Ming Dynasty that defines Guyi Garden as a whole. Small gray roof tiles, an ornamental ridge with delicate pierced carvings, upturned eaves at the corners, and a color palette of quiet, unassuring simplicity. It is a building that is simultaneously a beautiful object to look at from the outside and the perfect vantage point from which to look out.
In this tea house at Guyi Garden, time seems to slow to the pace of the water outside the window. It holds open a quiet space where the art of tea and the art of the garden become one. Come here, sit down, look at the lake, and let the garden do the rest. Is to become, for a moment, one of the countless generations of Chinese people who have sat in places like this. And that concludes our tour of Shanghai's Guyi Garden. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Frank. I was born and raised in China, and I love to travel. There's no better way to understand a country than to walk through it, one beautiful place at a time. China has hundreds of extraordinary classical gardens built by emperors, scholars, and poets across more than 1,000 years of history. Each one is different. Each one has its own story, and most of the world has never heard of them.
I grew up with this culture, I love it deeply, and I want to share it with you. Follow along and I'll see you in the next garden.